Want to dominate commercial truck sales? Here's 3 things I mastered to become the go to authority. If you're new to vocational truck sales or looking to break in the industry, there are 3 must know areas you need to fully understand if you want to dominate. Because once you master these 3 essentials, you stop being just another sales pro. You become the authority your customers trust. So, in this video, I'll break down the 3 key areas that helped me win more business, delivered solid value, and eliminated my competition. Hey, what's up, crew? It's Patrick with the Hot Topic Podcast, and today is Monday, June the 8th, and it's time for another question of the day. Let's see what chat has in store for us. Hey, chat, do you have a question for me today?
Yes. What are 3 must-know areas that will help you succeed in commercial truck sales?
Another good question from chat. I would say the number one thing, if you're new or maybe you're thinking about getting into the industry, one of the first things that you really need to grasp and understand that the difference between retail automotive sales and commercial truck sales is you have to know your weights and your capabilities of your commercial vehicles. Whichever vehicle you're going to sell. So, for example, if you're going to focus in on, let's say, vans or pickups, or maybe you're looking at utility vehicles, vocational, commercial, whatever it is, you really need to hone in on the weights and capabilities of those vehicles. The GVWR, which stands for the gross vehicle weight rating. Things like payload are things that you need to understand about your vehicles. If someone's buying a van, they need to know, and you need to know, what that capability is of that van when it's fully equipped, when it's empty, things of that nature. So your customer can then make a determination if that vehicle is going to be big enough for what they're trying to do. So, for example, a customer may have an idea that, let's say, a Transit 250 will do what they need to do. In theory, it's your job to be able to figure out what it is they're going to do with the van and then be able to determine, based on the weight capabilities, of how they're going to use the vehicle, plus any upfits that you may be putting on it. You need to be the authority when it comes to that information so your customer and you can make the right decision. It sometimes, maybe a 150 will be enough for what they're trying to do. Maybe it's a 350. Maybe it's a 350 dual wheel. Just depends on what they're doing and how they do it. But weights and capabilities are super essential for success in this side of the industry. You step up to a utility body. Again, does the customer just need a 250 or a 2500? Or do they need a 350, a 1-ton single wheel? Maybe they need a 1-ton dual wheel. You have to understand what those trucks are capable of and what are the weights and measures of that vehicle. I would say that was the number one thing that you really need to understand. Number 2, understand the terminology of the vehicle, the upfit, any sort of accessories, anything like that. You need to understand terminology. Now, here's one caveat to that I will share with you. When you start to understand terminology of vehicles, for example, on the retail side of a dealership, generally speaking, most salespeople will refer to, let's say, an F-250. They'll refer to it as an F-250, and then they'll talk about cab configuration. Regular cab, super cab or extended cab, or crew cab, which is fine in most cases. But when it comes down to commercial and fleet, generally speaking, you're going to talk about body codes. So, for example, your body code in Ford's world for a regular cab 250 two-wheel drive is going to be an F2A. That's going to be the terminology there. It's okay to understand, and you really need to know the terminology, but you don't need to speak in terminology with your customer. For example, if a customer comes in and says they're looking for an F-250, you don't need to reply back with, or you're looking for an F2A, F2B, X2A, X2B, B2A, W2B. That terminology means absolutely nothing to that customer. Although you think you're sounding smart by using this terminology, in reality, your customer thinks that, and may feel more than think, they may feel like you're using that terminology to create some sort of leverage against the customer. It's a very weird dynamic, but talk like the customer would talk. If they come in and they say they're looking for an F-250 4x4 gas engine crew cab, use the same terminology. Even though in your head, you already know that's a W2B is what he's looking for. But don't use that terminology in conversation with your customer because it means nothing to the customer, and essentially there's no sense in using that language with your customer. And the third thing is, and maybe the most important when it comes to success, you need to understand your customer's struggles. So if your customer's in the trades, if they're a plumber, electrician, maybe they're a contractor, HVAC, anything like that, you need to understand the struggles that they have with their vehicles so you can add value in offering different options. I'll give you a quick story. I had a customer that was buying F-250s from me, crew cab, 4x4, and we were adding a lot of toolboxes into the bed of the truck. Now, when I first started working with this customer, they were very specific in what they were looking for. They knew exactly which toolboxes, which rat packs, and how they want it configured in the bed. So even though I went down the path with them to ask them how they were using the vehicle, again, they were very set that this is exactly what they wanted. So rather than at that point trying to get in the way and interfere with anything, I just sourced the vehicles and built it the way they wanted to. It wasn't until sometime later, as we started building probably the 10th or 12th vehicle for them, I happened to walk out on the lot when they were there. And I showed them a utility body and asked them, hey, do you think this might work better for your application? Well, they never really thought about using a utility body. In their world, it was all about pickups and toolboxes, which is fine. And a lot of times, your utility body serves the same purpose. But what it did for this customer, it sped up our build time and our build process. It simplified things for them rather than having keys for each piece that was in the back of the truck, basically your toolboxes and rat packs and things like that. We went to a utility body that was one of the first ones to come out with power locks. So we got them a utility body that had power locks, and it helped their business in that they saw that the theft started to decrease when it came to parts and tools and things of that nature, because there was too many entry points when it came to adding the toolboxes and rat packs and things like that. The service body or utility body just simplified the whole process. But anyway, that was understanding my customers' needs and their struggles, offering a solution. And what it did, it created a great opportunity for me to continue selling them trucks because to them, I was the authority simply because I knew what they needed. I offered something that would fix some of their struggles or some of their problems or maybe some hurdles. And therefore, I ended up selling this customer a lot of trucks. Now, there's a lot of stories out there like that. That's not unique in our industry at all. There are a lot of really smart, really bright individuals that are in our industry on the sales side. But if you looked at all of us, that's probably one thing that we all had in common was, can we offer solutions that helps our customers become more efficient and be able to get trucks to them quicker? And maybe it's something to really kind of set their fleet apart. Was it a bigger investment? Slightly. It wasn't really that big of a jump, but what they saw was the benefit in using utility bodies rather than toolboxes and rat packs in the back of the truck. So anyway, guys, those are three things that I really dove into that allowed me the opportunity to kind of be an advisor to my customers, the authority, if you will. It helped me sell a lot of vehicles. When your customer comes to you and they are looking for a solution and you're able to give them options to fix those struggles and those problems that they're having, you too can become the authority in your customer's eyes. Don't just be a sales pro. Just don't sit there and just order take. Be there to offer some suggestion, some options. Share with them some of your knowledge. But again, talk as your customer would talk. Don't use that terminology against them because in turn, what that does, it ends up working against you. Okay, guys, you know the drill. I would sincerely appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe to the channel. Again, it helps us grow, helps to get the word out there, because ultimately we are all trying to get better together and make this industry better around us. Okay, guys, I'll be back tomorrow for another question of the day. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, June the 9th. But until then, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.